That's £120 a year that you could put towards a holiday. It's not our fault. We don't have to think. We literally go, oh yeah, buy, press, shop now, go. And then it's bought, and then the money's gone. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. I hope you're doing really, really well. Today's video is another episode in the series on my channel called Money with Shan, where us mums, us women actually talk about personal finance. I feel like it's so dominated by males, and I feel personally a little bit patronised when I listen to some of those videos, and I just thought it would be nice to talk girl to girl about money instead of leaving it to the boys. So today's video is about frugal tips to help us save money in 2025. And I feel like frugal has like a bad rap. Frugal can sometimes come across as like, oh, you're just cheap, or if you're frugal, it kind of has the connotations like you have beans on toast every single day for dinner and like don't have any fun and cut out all like joy from your life basically because you just don't spend any money. But in reality, being frugal is just about being intentional with your spending and with your money in order to work towards like a bigger goal. So I guess frugality to me is just about taking that step back, thinking about what your bigger picture is, like what you want your life to look like, and then what steps you're going to put in place in order to make that life achievable for you. And I feel like all of these small frugal tips that we're going to go through today will help us get to that point if we just switch our mindset a little bit. For me, being frugal just means being intentional and also prioritizing what is important to me and only spending money in those areas and forgetting about the things that aren't important to me anymore. So a way of looking at this is figuring out your why. Why are you here? Like, what are you doing? What is your purpose and what makes you happy in life and what are you working towards? All of those things, that will be your why. So for me, that's my family, that's spending time with my family, that's doing the small things with my family very frequently rather than working really hard, really long hours, not seeing my kids during the week in order to be able to afford the big holiday once a year during the summer. I would much rather spend all those small moments with my kids and on a Friday afternoon take my son to the library every Friday afternoon because I'm not working, because I've chose that life. Do you know what I mean? If however you can't relate to that, that's totally fine. Whatever your why is will be completely different to everyone else's. Like, have a little think about what you want your life to be like in 5-10 years and start putting the things in place in order to get there, but also just start living your life in the way that actually makes you happy and brings you joy and brings your life purpose. The best way that I've been able to do this is by setting a monthly budget, figuring out how much money I've got coming in and what my outgoings are, and then if I've got any money left over, figuring out what I'm going to do with that money. Am I going to spend it mindlessly, card tapping in Costa, or maybe going shopping, buying loads of new clothes in H&M for the kids? Am I doing those things, or am I actually being intentional with my spending? Once you have your why in mind, like what is important to you, it's so much easier to stick to it and stick to a budget when you have a reason to do it and a vision and what you're working towards. If however you don't have a lot of breathing space after all of your essentials come out, then these tips hopefully can help you a little bit just to have that breathing space and figure out what you want to do with your money that hopefully we're going to save you from using these frugal tips. So I'm going to do all of these frugal tips in like different categories. So we can talk about food, then we can talk about clothes, and then we can talk about how to save money in beauty, then we can talk about how to save money on our bills, subscriptions, insurances, that kind of thing. And then at the end, I actually filmed that one earlier. All the rest of the footage has absolutely disappeared. But earlier I also spoke about like online shopping as well. So we're just gonna go for it. The first one is going to come as no surprise to anyone that's ever watched any of these kind of videos before, and it is to meal plan. I promise you, if you meal plan every single, even if it's just dinners, if you meal plan every single dinner you're planning to have that week, you are going to save money on your weekly shop, because you're only buying the ingredients you need rather than going into the shop sort of a bit blind and not really knowing what you're going in for and then ending up buying bits and bobs. Probably you're gonna come home and then when you can think of a recipe, you go, oh, I don't have that one thing, pop back out to the shop, buy even more things, and then also see that there are other things on offer at that time that you notice, then you're gonna buy those things as well, and you're gonna end up spending so much more. I'm very intentional with when I go to the shop. I have my list, I do my meal plan, and I have all of my ingredients listed out next to it, and I only buy those ingredients. I never ever go off-piste with all the bargains or club card deals or things that are on offer, unless it's to substitute something from my list for something else that's on offer, I'll do that, but I won't just go in and like go crazy on all the offers because it adds up so quickly. This is the little list that I use to meal plan, and it's got all of my meals for the week here, and then I'll write down all of the ingredients that I need. Obviously I've just done my weekly shop, so all of the ingredients was ripped up in my pocket probably from when I did the weekly shop. This is everything that I'm cooking this week. This is from Amazon, and you can see here that I've got like pulled pork burger wedges, salmon bowls, chicken pesto pasta. I would have wrote all of the ingredients that I actually needed onto the list and gone into the shop and only bought those, or done an online shop, which I also find saves me money if I do an online shop, because I'm not then tempted by all the things that I see on the shelf. I do just buy the things that I need and the ingredients I need for the meals that I've prepared in my meal plan. Another frugal tip to save money on your food shop is to shop your fridge, freezer and cupboards before making your meal plan. That probably should have been the first tip, because if you look through your fridge, freezer and cupboards, I guarantee you've got some ingredients in there that you could use up. If you've got veg going off in the fridge, a few mushrooms, you've got some onions hanging about in the cupboard, and you've also got a couple of chicken breasts in the freezer, you could probably knock that together and make some sort of either stir fry or whatever it might be. You could probably pull that together by just buying some noodles from the shop. You've got a meal there, because you'll probably have some soy sauce or whatever it might be in the cupboard. So by pulling all of the things you've got from all of the different crevices of your fridge, freezer, cupboard together, you could probably knock up a couple of meals. I guarantee you could do that from things in your freezer, because honestly, if you're anything like me, I've got loads of stuff in there, and I go through it to figure out what I'm gonna have for the week before I make my meal plan. I build my meal plan around what's in my cupboards, fridge and everything, and then I go to the shop, and I always end up saving money. I'm always on budget with my shopping, because I know what my inventory is, so I'm not buying duplicates or anything. I know exactly what I've got, and I know how much I've got to buy, no more and no less. Another frugal tip is to bulk buy meat and fish and then put it in the freezer at the beginning of the month or whenever you get paid. The reason I say this is when you buy those big XL family packs of like chicken breast or a massive like joint of meat or whatever it is, those work out cheaper per kilogram than if you were to buy the smaller packets of things weekly. And obviously if you're bulk buying and you're thinking, I'm not gonna get through like 2 kilograms of chicken a week, you can always bulk buy it and then portion them out into little sandwich bags or containers and pop them in the freezer of the ones that you're not going to use. That's what I do at the beginning of every single month. I buy literally like 2 kilograms worth of chicken breast, 2 kilograms worth of chicken thigh, probably normally pork to be honest, because it's one of the cheaper meats. I buy loads of sausages, I buy some fish, like maybe some salmon or whatever, and I freeze some of it and use some of it for that first week. And then throughout the month, I'll pick things out, so whether that's chicken breast or chicken thighs or whatever from the freezer, and thaw them overnight in the fridge in order to pop them into like a slow cooker recipe or whatever it might be. Again, building my meal plan around the things that I've already got in, and I genuinely think it's such a great way of saving money. Another freezer tip is to buy frozen fruit and frozen meat. And I know I've just said about bulk buying meat, you can buy fresh meat or you can buy frozen meat. I would say like when it comes to buying frozen meat and fish, I use those kind of things in like pie or casserole or something in a slow cooker, for example. Like I like frozen meat for those things. Certain meals won't work with like frozen and then defrosted meats, like, or they'll work, but maybe not as well. But it is definitely cheaper to buy frozen rather than fresh. So I would suggest that. Like they're frozen very much at the point of like, they're still fresh when they're frozen, so it's just as good, the nutritional value is just as good. Similarly with fruit, I find that frozen fruit is really great in things like porridge or Weetabix, or on top of yogurt and granola or whatever it might be, or even in smoothies. I use frozen fruit in all of those kinds of things. I use raspberries, strawberries, mixed berries, blueberries, in all of those kind of things, and they work so brilliantly. Don't get me wrong, there's obviously space for fresh fruit. Like obviously, I do still buy fresh fruit as well. In the summer, I buy like berries and things, but in the winter, I tend to just go for the really affordable fruit like pears, apples, oranges, bananas, and then all of the other fruits I get frozen because they're not in season anyway. There's a billion pesticides on all of them, and I'm using them in things like porridge and pancakes and things like that, so it makes absolutely no difference to me. Obviously, I wouldn't just like defrost a raspberry from the freezer and then eat it. It wouldn't taste as nice, like it just doesn't. But in the things that I'm using it for, it works perfectly. And it works out so much cheaper. If you've got kids and they're berry obsessed like my kids, you'll understand. Berries are expensive. They definitely are, but frozen berries are so much more affordable and you can just be a bit more creative with how you use them. Perfect. I've got a couple more freezer tips. The first one is to be just less wasteful with your food and freeze stuff to make it last longer. Obviously, we've done that already with the meat. Obviously, bulk buy meat and then pop it in the fridge. But if you say you're not like completely on top of your inventory, like an absolute psychopath like I am, then you buy a little bit too much bread, or you've got some bread left over but you need to top up, but you're not going to use all of it and some of it's going to go off. Freeze it. Freeze that loaf of bread. Freeze that milk. Freeze whatever it is that you think you're not going to get through, and then just make sure you're getting it out on time, like to use it. So if it's milk, you probably will need like 24 hours to defrost the whole thing of milk. But if you're talking about bread, like I had half a loaf of bread in the cupboard, and then I got my weekly food shop and I had another loaf of bread. Now I'm probably not going to go through a loaf and a half of bread in 1 week, but I will definitely go through more than half a loaf. So I put the loaf of bread that I just got from the shop in the freezer. Once that half a loaf that's in the cupboard is being used, or I've got to the last little slice, I'll get that other loaf out, and then by the time I need it, it will be defrosted. Honestly, slices of bread defrost within like 5 minutes. I literally just like lay them on the side and they'll be defrosted by the time I get around to like spreading some butter on them. So genuinely, I think using your freezer is the best frugal hack there is, because food waste is so high. I rarely throw away food unless it's leftovers that I have then not ate. I'm very bad for that. But the next hack should hopefully help me that. It is to batch cook food and then freeze it. Not what I've been doing is batch cooking or cooking food and then having like an extra portion, like leftovers, whatever, popping it in the fridge and then not eating it and then chucking it away in 3 to 5 days time. Like that is just what I've been doing recently, and it's not on. I think if we're going for the effort of cooking for our families and making like 4 portions of something, make 8 portions of it or 6 portions of it or whatever you can do, and then pop those into containers and then put them in the freezer, and then have a drawer that's just ready meals of pre-made batch cooked food that is family friendly, that you know you've like cooked yourself and it's like a home cooked meal, and you can just whip it out when you're at a loose end, potentially with the kids or whatever. Like on a Friday, we usually get back after a whole day of activities at like 4 p.m. I'm knackered, the kids are knackered, they're hungry, and I've not cooked because we've been out all day. So I get back and I go into my special little drawer. I have got some stuff in there, a couple of like little pasta dishes or whatever I've done, and I just get them out, the literally rock hard frozen portions of food that I get out. I put them in the microwave on the defrost setting, defrost them like according to how heavy it is, and then once it's defrosted, I then heat it up to make sure that it's heated through, especially if it's got meat in it or rice. Very important to make sure it's heated all the way through. But once it's done that, it's good as new, and especially if it's like a pasta dish or something, it's perfect for the kids. It's basically like a homemade ready meal, like available to your kids if you're like prepared enough to be able to like put them in the freezer. That's what I need to start doing, because I've got into the habit of putting it in the fridge and then not eating them in time. Freezer is perfect and you'll thank yourself later. And then finally, on the household items kind of side, is Amazon Subscribe and Save. I absolutely swear by this. I actually did a post on Instagram where I shared all of the things I get on Amazon Subscribe and Save to save money on all the things I use every single month. And I save up to 15% on all of these items because I've got them on a recurring subscription through Amazon. You can edit this, you don't have to get every single delivery. Obviously, this only works if you are actually on top of it and make sure you know, like, if you actually are using these items. Every single one of these items, I know exactly when I'm gonna need replenished. So like kitchen roll and toilet roll, that comes every 3 months. Like bin bags come every 5 months. My foundation or tinted SPF comes every 6 months. I know when I'm gonna need those replenished. Like, it's taken some like trial and error to get down to that, but I feel like if you know exactly how much you're using, this is a great way to save money, because it is definitely cheaper to get some of these items on Amazon Subscribe and Save with the 15% off than it would be to buy smaller packages of them in the shops. Obviously, if you've got the space for 3 months worth of toilet roll, happy days. If you don't, maybe not one for you. The next category on how to be a little bit more frugal to save money in 2025 is clothes. I feel like a lot of these things we probably already do anyway, but I would love to hear if you have any other suggestions in any of the categories. But the first one in the clothes category is to shop your wardrobe, just like shopping your cupboards before your weekly food shop. Shop your wardrobe before you have an event instead of buying brand new outfits for every single event you have or every single holiday you go on or whatever it might be. Genuinely, I feel like I feel like that's just a societal thing. Like we just feel like we have to buy a new thing every time we have like a special event because we don't feel like what we've got already is good enough. Let me just say, like, it's okay to buy something and then rewear it. Like, it's okay. It doesn't matter if someone's seen you in that outfit before. Because let me fill you in on a little secret. No one cares what you're wearing today and no one cares what you're wearing in 2 months' time. Like, it doesn't matter that you've worn it twice. I have this one dress. I wear it to every single event, every single time I need to look a little bit dressy. I wear this one dress and I don't think anyone's ever noticed. Like, I really don't. You know, I'm fine with that. Until that dress is really needing to be replaced, I won't be replacing it. But yeah, shop your wardrobe, sure, like the back of your wardrobe, all the nooks and crannies. But also, I get it, we're mums and our bodies have changed over the last few years, or we've been pregnant, not pregnant, pregnant again, all that kind of stuff, fluctuating weight, all that jazz. So sometimes we put things away in random places, thinking, oh, we'll fit back into that one day, or that's too big for me at the moment, blah, blah. Go through everything and take a little stock check of like all the vacuum pack bags, all the nooks and crannies in your wardrobe, under your bed, wherever you've hidden all your clothes. Go through them and have a little look. And I guarantee you'll find things that you absolutely love that fit you really, really perfectly for your body right now. And you never know, you might just be like finding your new favorite item. So shopping your wardrobe is a great one. Another great frugal tip that I've seen someone share is taking a picture of yourself in outfits that you like on you. So how many times have you like gone into a wardrobe and been like, I don't have anything to wear, like really overwhelmed, like I look rubbish in all of these things, like blah, blah. If you've taken photos of yourself in outfits that you feel really good in, that you feel put together in, that you feel like work together, like, you know, you've got a nice blazer, nice top, nice jeans, whatever it is, and you've forgotten that those pieces go together and that you felt really good in them. Imagine taking a photo every time you felt like you liked your outfit, putting those into a favourites folder on your phone or even onto a notes page on your iPhone. And then going through those every time you felt like you had nothing to wear, you go through those and use those as your own inspiration. And I really loved that idea. And I feel like, again, that's a frugal tip because it will stop you from buying more things because you'll remember the things that you've already got. Another tip is to sell and buy clothes on Vinted. This is probably my favourite tip in the clothing section because I love this. I live and die by this tip. I feel like I'm very frugal in this department because I have not bought a new piece of clothing for, I think, a year at least. I have been selling old like baby items and old baby clothes and some of my old clothes and maternity clothes and things like that on Vinted and using my Vinted balance to purchase new things for myself, so or even the kids even. I've bought jeans, tops, shoes on Vinted with my Vinted balance, so not even using like new money, if you know what I mean. I don't withdraw that money as like cash money, I just leave it in my Vinted balance and use that whenever me or the kids need new clothes. One thing I actually did recently was I decided I needed some new jeans to fit my new body and I went to M&S because I love M&S jeans. I wanted to try on the wide fit jeans from M&S and see if they fit me or whatever. I chose a couple of sizes, tried them on to make sure that they definitely fit me. And then I went home to think about it rather than buying it there and then, just to make sure that I was making the right decision. I just like thinking about stuff before I buy them. If I was going to buy them, I was going to get them online. But I decided to go on Vinted, type in the exact fit of jean, like the wide leg jeans in X size, you know, blah, blah, and I bought them. They retail at £40 and I ended up buying them for £16 plus postage, brand new. Absolute bargain. So yeah, like that's exactly how, and I use my Vinted balance for that. So that's a great frugal tip, especially if you know exactly the item you're looking for. Like it's the perfect way. It's the perfect way of getting it. If things are discontinued as well, it's a great way of finding them because often people will be selling them on Vinted. I've recently got my daughter's favourite pair of shoes in the next size up for £1 on Vinted. Secondhand, they only retail at like £6. They're just from Georgia Asda. But I got the exact right pair in the right size on Vinted for £1 and it was an absolute bargain. And then finally in the clothing section, this one doesn't just like work for clothing, it works for kind of everything in your house. But if you declutter, you have a lot more clarity on what brings you joy and what doesn't. And if you have less stuff, you're less overwhelmed, you're able to see what you have in your wardrobe, what you have in your drawers, what you have in your kids' toy cupboard, and those things get used more and therefore you buy less. You might even realise that you've got duplicates of things. Like I wear a lot of these kind of like plain tops. I quite like having duplicates of these because when one thing's in the wash, then I can still use these kinds of tops. But I would never need to buy a new cream cardigan, and if I ever saw myself like edging towards buying a new cream cardigan, I'd have to check myself and say, actually, you've already got one. And if this one's significantly better, then you donate this. It's like a one in, one out system, rather than just having like unnecessary duplicates of things that kind of serve the same purpose. Because realistically, if you like the look of something online, it's probably because that's your style and you like it. Chances are you've already got something that fits that exact criteria. I am a stripes fiend. I wear stripes. Look back on any of my videos. I'm wearing a striped jumper or cardigan. I've got too many stripes. That was a mistake on my part. I should not have bought that many stripes. If I ever catch myself looking at a striped cardigan or a striped jumper, I absolutely not. You are not buying one of those because you already have those in your wardrobe, and I know that, so I definitely don't impulse buy those. Next category in the frugal tips to save us a little bit of money in 2025, we've got beauty, which to be honest, I feel like you'll probably see all of these coming. Firstly, it is to just cut down on some of the beauty treatments that you get, if you get any. If you're someone that gets your hair done regularly, if you're someone that gets eyelash extensions regularly, if you're someone that gets your nails done regularly, eyebrows threaded, whatever it might be, waxing, like literally anything, any service that you go and get, just try cutting it down a little bit. Even if you don't want to cut it out completely, cut it down from once a month to once every 2 months. Take a look at what you find important, like what is it about getting your hair done every 6 weeks that you love? Is it that you need that because you need to maintain your hair? Fine, that's what is your why and that's what's important to you, then fine, carry on, like that's great. Is getting your lashes done really important to you because you want a little bit of time to yourself? Like you're being a busy mum, you want those 2 hours to just lay there and talk to your lash technician / therapist, then okay, I get it. However, have a little look and be really honest with yourself about what is bringing you joy, what could you cut down on, and what would you be willing to cut down on, and what aligns with your life goals and stuff. Because if you were like me and I used to get my hair done, eyelashes done, and my nails done all of the time, that added up very quickly. And then I soon realised, like now I don't get those things done as frequently. I was getting my hair done once a month, but I've now cut that down. I'm going to do it probably once every 3 months, once every 4 months, because my hair is in a maintainable state now. Like it's at a colour that it's the same with my roots, so it doesn't really matter. Before it was like bleach blonde, I needed to get it like upkept. Whereas now I don't have to. I don't get my nails done every month and things like that. And I'm using that money to spend time with my kids and go out on days out with my kids instead. And that's how I'm choosing to distribute my money, because it fits with my why and my version of frugality. Similarly, the next one is to look for DIY alternatives. And that can literally be, like I said, maybe not hair if you're not as confident with the scissors or whatever, but potentially look at getting your eyebrows dyed yourself. I use eyebrow dye from Amazon, subscribe and save. I do that once a month. I also do my DIY lashes. These are stick-on lashes that last up to a week. And I do these and I get these delivered on subscription as well. Obviously it is still a subscription, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot cheaper than getting my lash extensions done by a lash technician. The one thing I don't do DIY because I'm terrible at it is my nails. So if I ever do want my nails done, which I do want them done for special occasions and things like that, I will get them done, but I'm not going to get them done every single month anymore because money, like it's just too expensive. I can't justify it. Again, I'm taking stock of what's important to me, and if I've got the cash available to do it, great, but is it important enough to me to do as opposed to save for a future event? No, it's not. So like I say, it's just about putting it back to what is important and what is your why and what is your version of frugality and what are you working towards, and always having that in the back of your mind and figuring out if what you're spending your money on is aligning with that. Then moving on to the frugal tips for subscriptions, bills, and insurance, things like that. Number one, look through all of your subscriptions and figure out whether you're actually using them all and whether you're getting the most out of all of them. For example, if you're like a lot of people and have multiple TV subscriptions to like online streamers, Are you really using them all? Are you using Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix, Prime Video, or whatever it's called? If you're using all of those things constantly, fair enough. Maybe you're getting the best use out of them. But if you're not, maybe just consider like either cancelling a couple of them or pausing them, or actually just looking through your account and looking through your direct debits and seeing like what subscriptions are coming out every single month. And you can, I bet you could definitely get rid of a couple that you don't use. You'd probably be surprised, even if it's just a tenner or £20 a month that you're saving, like you'll be surprised how quickly that adds up throughout the year and how much money you could then save towards something. Say you're wasting £10 a month on a subscription that you're not using, that's £120 a year that you could put towards a holiday or birthdays or Christmas. Like you could put that money towards something, and I guarantee you'll be able to find some money if you look hard enough. Another example on the streamers is if you're happy to have like adverts and things, a lot of these streamers have like options to lower your subscription tariff to the lowest one. Like for example, Netflix, if you pay for like the premium Netflix, it's like £18.99 a month. If you go for the lowest tariff, it's £5.99 a month, and all you have to do is watch like one advert per like episode of things. It literally, it barely even impacts watching. We have actually just got our own Netflix account because I was still piggybacking off of my mum's account, which I know Netflix does not allow anymore. So we have literally just got our own Netflix account at the age of 26. I know I should, yeah, not ideal. But yeah, we went for the $5.99 option, and now we just have to watch one advert per episode of The Office or whatever we're watching. It's absolutely fine. Another tip is to check your contracts with your current providers, whether that's utilities like gas and electric, your TV subscription if you've got Sky or Virgin or anything like that, your phone bill, your Wi-Fi, anything like that, to see if you could get a better deal elsewhere. There are, like, in these companies, there are teams that are literally set up just to keep customers happy and to retain you as a customer. They're literally like retention teams. So if you call them up and say, you know, I don't think this is great value anymore, I'm thinking about leaving, please can I cancel my subscription or my, you know, membership with you or whatever it might be, or my contract or whatever, if it's something you can get out of without paying obviously, then it's worth it, because a lot of these teams will offer you a better deal on whatever it is that you're, you know, paying. So for example, if it's your Sky subscription, then you call them and say, I'm thinking about leaving and just going on to like Freeview, which is what we do. We don't have Sky or anything like that, but we do just use Freeview. If you say that to them, it's likely they'll offer you a better price. Similarly, if your insurances are coming up for renewal, so your car insurance, home insurance, life insurance, whatever it is, if those things are coming up for renewal, you should be going on Compare the Market or Go Compare, any kind of comparison site, to find what better deals you can get, because every single time my insurance has like automatically renewed, I've been on a higher rate, and it's just not fair. Like, you'd think they would reward customer loyalty. They absolutely do not. If you do not like hustle with them a little bit and say you're going to leave to a different company, they up your price. That's just what happens with insurance. It's absolutely vile in my opinion. But what you should do, what frugal people do, is call up their insurance companies the month before their renewal, you know, is due, and then they just say, look, I can find a better deal on Sheila's Wheels or whatever it might be, and I'm thinking about leaving. And then your current company is very likely to give you a better price, probably meeting the cheapest offer on the comparison sites. So you shouldn't have to like do that, but you do. It is just how it is. The next category in this video on frugal tips to save us money in 2025 is kind of around online shopping, I guess. And the first one is to just pause before we press buy. It is so easy to purchase things now that, because it's so easy, we don't have time to critically think about that purchase. We just do it. We just do it on impulse. And it's so easy to just say like, oh, just stop impulse buying. Like, it's not our fault. It's not the consumer's fault that we impulse buy. It is the society that we live in and the constructs that have been literally put in place for us. It is too easy to buy things, and that is why we have to actively stop ourselves from buying things straight away just because we want it. The thing that has saved me the most money and the most perfect frugal tip out there is to have a little cooling off period, I think, before any purchase, and use that time. Like, if you're adding things to your basket, or if you're just like scrolling and like adding things and thinking, oh, that would be good, I like that, you know, whatever. actually just pause, take a 24-hour pause before buying it and then revisit it. And it's a really good way of like putting together a little wish list of things. Like for example, there are a couple of things that I would like to buy, like in the near future. I'm putting together a little list now of those things, and then I will revisit that in a couple of days and go, do I still want those things? Like, do I really? And then also going, can I prioritize X amount over saving that money, or can I prioritize that over putting that money towards something else? Like, I feel like it's just critical thinking about our impulses a little before we actually do it. It's so much easier said than done, I know, but it is definitely possible. A really good example of this is what I do with Amazon. Like, I don't have Amazon Prime, and the reason I don't have Amazon Prime is because that makes it too easy for me to get things quickly. And what that means is I have to spend £35 to get free shipping, which basically means for me, what I end up doing is adding things to my basket, and then when it gets to the £35 mark, I look back through my basket and go, do I still want that? Not really. I wanted that like a week ago, but I'm not that bothered about it now. So it actually makes me critically think about my shopping a little bit and go, you know what, I don't even need that anymore, so I'll take it out of my basket. It sometimes takes me 2 months to order things off of Amazon. Not the subscribe and saves, which I do, and I review those regularly, but I feel like that's worth me saving the money on. But on the just ad hoc shopping that we all do on Amazon, like literally probably about 80% of us buy things on Amazon like monthly, I have to build up that shopping basket and then hopefully maximum do one order a month. But if that, to be honest, I try not to, but obviously sometimes we just need stuff. Like we live in a world where we do need things. Most of the time I end up removing loads of things from my basket rather than having purchased them in the first place, and I just find it definitely puts a little bit of a buffer on my impulses, and I definitely think that's something that frugal people do all the time. Another tip is to remove auto-filled card details from our phone. Now, this will not be for everyone because it is very, very convenient to have all our card details in there. Who has been online shopping, ordering something, doing something, come to checkout, and then for some reason your autofill isn't working, or your card details for the card you want to use isn't on that phone, and you've then gone, oh, I'm so annoyed, I have to get up and walk 5 steps to my purse, or you don't even know where your purse is, or whatever, and it stops you from doing that purchase, or it at least, again, gives you that time to critically think about that purchase. And I think this is the main thing, because it is so easy, because it's auto-filled, all our details are just there. We don't have to think, we literally go, oh yeah, buy, press, shop now, go. And then it's bought, and then the money's gone. Without us having to get up, without us having to really think about it, it's just so easily accessible. It's the same thing, but it's just putting that buffer in front of us. And yeah, it might be annoying every now and then, like it is annoying. However, it will stop you from impulse buying as much, I promise you that. Another one that isn't exactly exclusive to online shopping, it's basically for everything, but I use sinking funds to buy everything. Anything that isn't a direct debit coming out of my joint account to pay bills, I use sinking funds to fund. Literally everything, from petrol to food out to anything that I'm doing with the kids ever. Like, I use sinking funds for them. And if you've seen any of my budgeting videos, then you would have seen me talk about this before, but I categorize basically all of my spending so that I have, £150 for petrol, I have £50 for days out with the kids. These are my spending pots, and I allocate money for those things. The reason I think that's a frugal tip is because it, again, puts that buffer in front of me. It's the same thing every single time, putting the buffer in front of me from my spending, rather than just having that mindless card tap access. I actually have to go into, I use Monzo to do my sinking funds, and that's exactly what I do. I transfer all of my money into Monzo, and I separate that money into pots of money and allocate like all of my different priorities for the month, and that's it. Obviously, if an emergency comes up, I've got an emergency fund and I've got other things, and look, that takes time to build up, and I'm not saying it's instantly available to everyone, but for me, I go into my Monzo app, I transfer the money from petrol pot to the main account, and then I can pay for my petrol. It takes a little bit more time, it's not as instant as just tapping your phone, but it's a frugal tip because, again, it puts the buffer in front of you. Is the thing that you're wanting to buy in the shop worth taking the money out of that sinking fund for? And it just gives you the time to think, you know what? No, it's not. Am I going to do that means I've only got £20 in that account. And I'm like, is it worth it? Probably not. Maybe I won't buy it. And it just puts a buffer in front of you, and it genuinely works. I promise you, I've saved so much money from doing this. And it sounds like a ball ache. It sounds annoying and unnecessary, but I swear it works. It is the best. I've said that about so many tips, but genuinely that is the best frugal tip I could give anyone, is sinking funds. The next one is probably a little bit unpopular, but it is to get off of social media. And I'm literally saying that as someone that does social media for a job. Get off of it. Get off of social media, because we are relentlessly sold to, or at least you don't have to get off of social media, you just have to look at it for what it is. We are being relentlessly sold to constantly through social media, and whether that's paid for ads that just like when you're scrolling through, you just see something cool, like it looks really nice, or someone is wearing something, they look good. Like if you didn't see that thing, you wouldn't know it existed, and therefore you wouldn't think you want it. Genuinely, it's mind-blowing how easy we are to sell to. But again, it's not our fault. Like, it's just the society that we are in, and we just have to like be really, really, really conscious of it. That's all. That's another thing that frugal people do. They see through the bullshit, basically. Like, that's what it is. It's the same thing as realizing that social media is fake. Like, we see a highlight reel of everything. We see people selling things to us. We don't always see the things behind closed doors. And so, for example, like, a lot of people on social media have these amazing cars. They have Teslas, they have Range Rovers. A lot of those cars aren't owned, they're on finance or on lease. And we can't compare ourselves to that and therefore think that that's something that we have to have. Like, you can have your bashed up Nissan Qashqai, that's fine. Definitely the car I have. If that gets you from A to B, like, it really doesn't matter. Similarly, if you're seeing people, you know, going on holidays to Dubai all the time or whatever it is on social media, just know that there's always a sacrifice of that. Like, maybe they've got loads of money and they've been really successful and they can afford to do that with their family, fine. And if that's something you want to work towards, then these little frugal habits will probably help you get there. However, always remember that, again, social media isn't always as it seems, and people could be getting into debt to go on those holidays. People could be working extremely long hours, 60 hours a week in the city in really high intense jobs, not seeing their family in order to pay for these things. Like, you don't know. You don't know. You really don't know. And even if you think you know, you probably don't. Like, honestly, social media is just a facade, and so you cannot compare someone else's life to yours, someone else's like version of life they're presenting online to your reality, because they're not comparable. This just takes us all the way back to the beginning, to take a step back and remember what your why is. What is important to you? What is your goal? And all of these frugal habits will hopefully fall in place with that, because all of these really small sacrifices that you're putting in place now are working towards that bigger picture that you can see for yourself in 5 to 10 years. And that's what frugality is. It's about all of these micro savings, all of these micro habits that build up to a life that you want for yourself. And I get it might take a long time. I get that you might get demotivated, but if you always have that why in your head, then this becomes easier. Life isn't easy, life is hard. Sometimes spending money gives us that dopamine hit that just makes us feel better for 30 seconds, and sometimes we need it. Girl, I get it. We've all been there. But this bigger picture, like what you want your life to look like, should be the ultimate goal for you, and figure out what that is. And I would love, love, love to know what it is for you. Like, for me, I'm gonna share like what my sort of goal is, and it's not to own the Lamborghini or the Range Rover or the Tesla. It's definitely not to go to Dubai on holidays. My goal is to have time freedom to spend with my kids, drop them off at school, pick them up at school, go on frequent small trips in the UK and make memories with my kids, not be financially stressed by trying to keep up with the Joneses and buying new things all the time, like, you know, expensive cars or big holidays. Like, actually taking the time to spend the money like intentionally, and taking things out of life to actually experience experiences and make memories and spend time with people that I love. Like, that is my ultimate goal. I would also love a house with a drive. That is probably my biggest ask. The more I think about it, the less important that part is. It's the rest of it that matters the most to me. And that's my why. My why is all of those things. Don't get me wrong, some of those things are gonna take time to get to. Like, in terms of the time freedom one, that's a hard one, because you can't just drop off your kids at school and pick them up if you've got a 9 to 5 job. It doesn't work like that. That's not life. And so hence why I'm making videos and I'm trying to be, you know, I don't even know what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to run a business and do this and have the time flexibility, but that comes with its challenges. And if this doesn't go to plan, I might have to go back to work, and that might not be my reality. But I will do everything that I can in order for that to be the case. And if that means changing jobs to a job that can work around the kids, for me, that is probably the priority that I would set over having the job with a like more prestige or more money, in order to be around for the kids more. Like at the moment, that's just where I am. I never thought that's where I'd be, but it is. I feel like taking stock, realizing what is important to you, prioritizing my spending now and also my savings for my future, I can live the life that actually makes me happy. And to me, that's what frugality is. So yeah, I hope you found something in that video helpful, and I would love to know what your version of frugality is for you, what your vision is for the 5 to 10 years, like what you want from your life and for your family, all that kind of stuff. Like it's so individual, and it's so interesting, I think, to know what journey everyone else is on as well. But don't forget to follow and subscribe along for the next kind of Money with Shan video. I'm gonna hopefully do a couple of budget videos for people on lower incomes, because I feel like I focus a little bit more on sort of the medium income, where actually it'd be really helpful to maybe talk about the lower incomes and ways to save money and stuff like that. So let me know if you have any suggestions. But for now, guys, I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
'Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.